director, writer.
Did a short film about
professor.
Casey Jones. I got these today.
Wow.
You know about this?
Yeah.
The Adidas tennis shoes. How cool are those?
Pretty cool.
That is awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, my feet are that big. You know what they say about a man's shoe size, right? We
Big
won't go
size.
there.
Big size.
Where's Big Size?
Put those away.
Thank you for coming to the panel today. We're calling it the Mothership because this
You
is the
said
movie
ship.
that started it all. Yes, I did. I said Mothership.
Yeah.
So the first Ninja Turtle movie, 1990. Bobby Herbeck is the writer, and he's here to answer all your questions about the film and how it got made.
Yeah, my hair's a different color now. Okay.
Yeah. You want to come to one of these mics over here? And
Yeah, I am. I'm
get
trying to
started?
get the book out here.
It's got the
Just keep going.
The screenplay?
screenplay.
tell 'em a little bit
with
about
the
my-
storyboards in there too.
Nice.
There you go. I like to show the script. This is the script from the first movie. So, some of you saw it at the signing. So with the storyboard on it.
You gotta have your sign.
Yeah, I need a sign. It's got my name on
It
it?
does.
Well, they spelled it right. Okay. They usually spell Herbeck or Herbeck. Hi, everybody. Thanks
So,
for coming.
Bobby, let's start it off.
Yes.
I want to ask you, how did the first Ninja Turtle movie come about? What got it started?
What?
How did you start writing this movie? What led to it?
Well, I got a computer and a keyboard. I wrote it on how many Apple people here? Yeah.
You did? I'm just saying.
I'm going to tell you, but I'll tell you, how many people are Apple, any Apple people here? I wrote this on an SE. Was it SE30? It looked like a little TV. You know that computer? I wish I saved it. It's probably worth a fortune now. And that was also when you've got mail, AOL started then, right? And 1988, I think, is when we pulled this together. And I'm just going to tell you, we just had this interview. I thank every one of you. My buddy Kim Dawson, who produced the movie, who brought it to me. I was writing a movie for Golden Harvest. You know Golden Harvest, some of you? Did the Bruce Lee, Jackie Chan movies out of Hong Kong. And Kim Dawson directed the Mouseketeers at Timberlake and all those people who became big stars later. And he directed Gallagher the Comedian. How many people remember Gallagher the Comedian? Okay, Gallagher and his manager, Gary Proper, were in Detroit. Gallagher was doing a stand-up show that night. And he always they were comic book freaks. And they went into a little comic book store and they found Peter and Kevin's first graphic comic book. Have any of you seen that? Somebody has, or what do you guys here that had the one you got today? Well, anyway, they have them downstairs. They're cool, but they were black and white. They were just amazing, and it was their first graphic book. And they got a hold of Peter and Kevin, who were in Northampton, Mass, and pitched that, hey, can we take and run with this and try to get it made into a movie? And they went, sure. And they brought it to my partner, Kim, who was directed Gallagher's Showtime specials. And I lived in Long Beach, California, not New York. And Kim lived in Newport, and we met at the In-N-Out Burger in Westminster. It was a midway point. And I said, to this day, there should be a plaque there. We sat on the grassy knoll of that In-N-Out Burger, and he pitched me the Ninja Turtles. He had a VHS. It was just a cartoon show then. Some of you, how many were young kids then that are in here? Oh yeah, this is cool. But you know what's cool? It's still part of, it's become part of the social fabric. I mean, today in the signing I had young kids, and you guys aren't old. I'm old, you guys aren't old. You were a kid, I was an adult. I was 12. I just said on the interview, I said, Kevin, this guy Kevin interviewed me for CBR. He said, I said, well, how old are you? He said, I was 11 when I saw it. And I said, Jesus, I was 12, how amazing. You know, it's a lie. Anyway, so he shows it to me, and Kim says, I was writing another movie for Golden Harvest, and he said, you got the company to make this movie because they have the best martial arts guys in the business, and they stick them in they'll stick them in costumes, and they'll just dub the voices. So I go to my boss, Tom Gray, and I pitch it to him, and he goes, Herbs, finish the movie I'm paying you to write, will you? And I kept going back to him with it, and he called it the Ninja Pinjin Turtles. Quit bugging me with the Ninja Pinjin Turtles. Okay. And I went around Hollywood for maybe 3 months trying to get this movie made, and I was literally pitching some of the biggest producers in town this movie, Ronnie Howard and Brian Grazer, who some of you may have heard of. And I'm in the pitch meeting, and they're going, Turtles, yeah. And they talk, yeah. What's their names again? Raphael, Dante. And so they said, okay, thanks for coming in. And as I walked out, they had these 2 glass doors going out of their office. And I heard them go, wow! They were laughing. And they called my agent and said, who was the stoner that came in here with this turtle thing? You know, my agent says, I don't know about the pot, but the turtles are real. So I just said in this interview earlier, oh, thank you, man. I'm parched. I said to the gentleman on the interviews just now that you people, gentlemen and ladies who were kids then, and I tell my grandkids, these weren't around. Your Xbox and PlayStation wasn't around. You didn't have an iPad. You had a TV, and it was Pong was the game, and then Nintendo started coming on the horizon. And that was probably the first Ninja Turtle game, right, on Nintendo.
Really hard
And
game.
huh?
Really, one of the hardest games ever.
Oh, yeah.
Really? My son has one of those. My son's married a woman with a lot of money. He's got too many toys. But he has the big arcade thing with all the games on it, and it's got the turtles all over it. He's got. They still have that Nintendo game on it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool.
So anyway, everything in life I tell people is timing, which you all are adults. You can tell as your course of your life how you start in one direction and you hit forks. I came to Hollywood as an actor. Then I get a comedy store open, and I was the pledge class at the Comedy Store, April of '72. We were the first comics, and we were doing 3 shows a night because there weren't enough comics. Go figure, you can't get an open mic night now. And I had no design of writing anything other than my material. And I was on the road with Jose Feliciano, and I had 2 weeks off. I come back to California, and my agent called and said, get over to KTTV, or they need a warm-up guy for a new show called Different Strokes. And I said, what the hell's a warm-up guy? They said, just go over there, tell you what to do. You know what a warm-up guy is? They bring an audience in, and my job is to keep your butts in the seat, make sure you laugh, and don't talk, or, you know, just play by the game. And I became the warm-up king in Hollywood because the union came to me and said, we have no category money-wise for what you do. Because it's usually, Larry David was on the writing staff of one of my shows. And yes, he is really that crazy person, by the way. This has nothing to do with turtles. That's Larry, he's that crazy. Anyway, so in time I became part of the family, and we would tape an episode, have a dinner break, and then they would take the script and say, okay, this joke, that joke didn't work, we need a new joke. And I started throwing in my thoughts, and next thing you know, they handed me a script one day, and they said, take us home and punch it up, which meant add jokes to it, make it funnier. And they brought me along as a writer. And again, I say your life goes in places you don't imagine. And I'm ever grateful to them, because from the stand-up to the warm-up, and they always, if you ever see any of those shows, you'll see me in them. I had 3 jobs. I was making money writing. As an actor, they always put me in episodes every year. Always a featured one. I'm usually the delivery guy, the pizza guy, or this guy, the mailman. And then every year they'd give me a nice fat part. But my point of this all led to this for me. You know, I'm not doing this if I don't learn. And for those of you who might know about writers, some of the greatest TV comic writers were with, this is Norman Lear's company. Norman got the best. The guys who started sitcoms, who wrote for Sid Caesar going way back. And that was Mel Brooks and Woody Allen, those great writers. Here I am learning how to write from these guys that were legends. And not saying I'm a brilliant writer, but I learned a lot from them. And I had never written a movie. I had some ideas for them, and I was at a lunch. And Tom Gray from Golden Harvest was a guest at this lunch sitting next to me. And we got to talking, and he went to the U of A, I went to ASU, we're the same fraternity, and all of a sudden said, hey, I remember you. We used to party together back then. And it was this small world. And then I got up and did some stand-up at the lunch. And I came and sat down, and Tom said, you're really funny, man. He said, is this what you do? I said, well, I do the warm-up. I just told him what I just told you. And he said, do you have any movie ideas? I said, sure. He said, call me at 9 in the morning. Let's have a meeting. I went in, I pitched a movie, and he bought it. And I'm going, Jesus, okay, I pitch it. What am I going to, how do I write this thing, right? TV script is 44 pages. What is this one?
What movie did you pitch that time?
Oh, it was called Department Store that never got made. Real quick, I'm just curious what our final was on this. This was 120. Okay, so did any of you, were you ever writers or in this, got into this? Okay, so you know, the rule is a page a minute is film time, screen time. I don't agree with that. I think you can shoot. Well, you know, you're a director.
I don't agree with that either. I mean, that's a general guide, but you know, when you have action especially, like
The thing, yeah, exactly. And the hardest thing is to write action because you can't really write it. I mean, I didn't write the stunt stuff. I just go like, I didn't do this, but basically said the fight is on, okay? But if you look in these, you'll see the dialogue. Well, afterwards you can come and see, but you'll have your dialogue. But it's what I call the interstitial stuff in the middle where you're describing things and emotions and moods and stuff. And this is a lot of work. Anybody who's done this, and he knows, this is not easy. And I was writing the first movie, so I was learning along the way. And I sat down the first day to start this and I went, holy shit, what do I do? How long does this have to be?
What was it like working with Kevin and Peter?
I didn't, the only thing with Kevin and Peter, oh, thank you. So anyway, real quick, I'm sorry. So Tom Gray kept saying no to this. And he said, if you bring this up one more time, you're out of here. Finish the movie I'm paying you to write. And we went and had a drink one night after work, and he said something about his 2 kids. And I said, how old? 10 and 12? And I said, I won't bring the Pigeon Turtles up again, but go home and ask him about the turtles. Because your parents didn't know about the turtles. You were in watching TV, and they were doing their thing. And Tom called me when I got back to Long Beach. He said, we used to have the first recording voicemail or answer machine was called a record-a-call. And I get home and Tom goes, Herbs, Babes. Nickname Herbs, Babes means I closed the deal. He said, because he went and asked his kids and they said, Dad, it's like the thing, it's like the coolest thing. And he said, get your buddy and meet me for breakfast in the morning. And we had a meeting, we pitched it, and once again Tom goes, nah. And he sent me an article and we called it Saved by a Butt Cheek. He was sliding out of the breakfast booth and Kim says, there is the ancillary market, the licensing. And Tom said, yeah. He said, well, you got to consider that. This is going to sell a hell of a lot of merchandise. And Tom, okay, let's talk about the merchandise. I went home the next day. He calls me, he said, Herbs, pack a suitcase. We're going to Northampton, Massachusetts and meet Peter and Kevin and convince them that Golden Harvest is the company to make this movie. And we went and had dinner with them. And they said, sure, go for it. We come back, Tom calls me again a couple days later, he says, pack a suitcase, you're going to Northampton, you have to go and write a treatment. You know, a treatment is like a synopsis of what their story's gonna be, and they need to sign off on it. We need their permission. Yes, this is the story, you'll be there a week. I was there for days. These 2 guys could not agree on the story. And I said, at one point said, how did you guys finish a comic book? And I would know when I come and meet them in the morning after they read, I could tell by their body language. Kevin, have you met Kevin Eastman? He's very cool. And Kevin's out there like me. Peter's very reserved and very quiet. But Peter'd be looking at the floor and I'd go, all right, what didn't you like? And then we'd have a breakfast a few days later and Peter would like the treatment and Kevin wouldn't. And I was going, Christ, I'm going to be here forever. And then I called the gal at the company, Golden Harvest. I said, these guys, we're never going to get this done. She said, don't worry, honey. Every time you write a treatment, you're getting paid $15,000. I said, really? Hell, I'll stay here for a year. That's fine.
picking up 15,000 was a lot of money. It's still a lot of money in 1988. So went through several iterations of this. You're here. I went through several iterations, and you know this whole process.
I do, yeah.
And then I came back, and I was home 2 weeks, and Tom called, and he goes, pack a trunk. I said, a trunk? Am I going to Africa? I'm going on. I said, you're going to England. And they hired Steve Barron out of London, who at that time made music videos, Limelight. He did the famous Michael Jackson movie video.
He also did Take On Me.
Yes, brilliant. He was brilliant. And I know you will agree seeing the movie. He was awesome. Anyway, so he comes to LA, we have a dinner, everybody meets everybody, and I'm packing a trunk, I'm off to England because Jim Henson set up the Creature Shop there. And so I go over there and I watch this thing. Here I am writing this. I was writing this. How many of you remember the earthquake during the World Series in San Francisco? Yeah. That's when I was writing this. And I'm sitting at the computer, and all of a sudden the computer goes down, the lights went off and came back, and I went, what the hell was that? The TV comes on, and Al Michaels going, we just had an earthquake. You remember that, any of you? They had a big earthquake in San Francisco, which came, the grid all the way down here, it affected us. And I always remember, that was a bookmark for me. I said, my God, that's when I wrote it. That might be divine intervention. Write that script, Bobby. The movie's gonna do great. So, anyway, I go to England, and I write the movie. Anyway, Jim Henson had his setup there, and when I first got there, they were just doing the drawings. And then he'd have me come by, and then they're doing the clay models of them. And then I watch this thing morph into those costumes, and I'm just like, I get goosebumps telling these stories. And I went, my God, this is really happening. I'm watching this thing, I think I'm in a dream. Even going to when I saw the first Rough Cut at Goldwyn Studios, when they did a Rough Cut. A Rough Cut is before they got it all. You explain a Rough Cut to them.
Me? Oh, you can talk. They want to hear you talk.
Anyway,
keep you
but
talking.
a rough cut is before they really polish it and got Clint Eastwood calls it his cruel edit. Cuts it down to the bone. So, yes, wait a minute, I dropped a name. Let me pick it up. I know him, he calls it. This is how he talks. How you doing, Shorty? That's him yelling. How you doing, Shorty? Anyway, I got off on Clint. So, I watch this thing evolve. I get back to the States. They shoot the film in Wilmington, North Carolina. I go for 2 days. I have terrible back. I had to come home and have back surgery. So they're calling me for lines and stuff back here in Long Beach. And I missed most of the shoot. But then I saw the Rough Cut. And Tom and I are sitting in the back. And I'm a little guy, and I hate to go in the movies because there's always, right as the trailer's finished and the movie starts, my wife and I go, God, we can see the screen. Always some mook comes in the theater with hair out the ear, or he's 6'6" and sits in front of me. So here we are at Golden, we're watching, the screen's coming up, the credits are rolling, all of a sudden this giant man comes and sits in front of me with his kid. And I said to Tom Gray, I said, look at this jerk, he's late. He said, that's John Candy. I said, oh, he can sit there, that's fine, it's okay. I'll go stand in the back, it's all right. But he is big. John was big. Anyway, so the movie is about to come out, and Tom and I are going to have lunch in Beverly Hills, and we're in the car, and he's a wreck. The movie's opening in 3 days. He's gonna go to New York because it opens 3 hours earlier before here. And he said, Herbs, I'm a wreck. He said, I'm afraid we might have Howard the Duck on our hands. He said, Howard the Duck fell out of the sky like a rock. We have an audience. You kids. We have an audience that was built up. You kids can hardly wait to see this movie, to see what we'd come up with. Am I right? So he said, what do you think we're going to do the first weekend? I said, 20 million, which was a lot then. And he said, Herbs, if we do 20 million the first weekend, Golden Harvest will buy you anything you want. And right then, a 2-seater Mercedes convertible pulled up next to us, and I said, I want one of those. Okay? So the movie opened for a little under 25 million, I think, the first weekend. And I got married, went on my honeymoon, I was in Tortola, and my lawyer called Tom and said, I think you owe Bobby a car. So you can deliver the Mercedes black convertible with red interior to my law office and have bring the keys up to me, and I'll give it to Bobby when he gets back. No, I've never gotten the car to this day. The guy, Kevin just asked me in the interview, never got the car. Bastards. That's show business, though. That's Hollywood. They'll tell you anything, right? That's okay. I've been reaped rewards far beyond that car. So part of it is you. And for Kim, I want to thank all of you for loving this picture and your support after. Next year's our 35th anniversary, and we're going to do some stuff. We're trying to get a book done, get a book out. We're going to tell the nitty-gritty of getting this movie made, which I call the mothership. This to me is the mothership. It started the whole thing, for lack of a better term. And there's 2 more. Michael Bay, I'm to understand, is doing the next 2. But God, it's become part of. I'm little kids today, 6 years old, are Turtle fans, and it's truly been a blessing. And they did some during COVID when we were all shut in. For some reason, this company, I forget the name of that company, did this screen. They did 900 theater screenings one weekend on the anniversary. This was our 30th anniversary, 4 years ago, during COVID. We were so set up for San Diego and Comic-Cons, and then COVID hit, and we had to do everything on Zoom, as you all know, which is like talking to an empty room. And, which, it just changed all of our lives. And so they did this screening, 900 theaters around the country during COVID. So I live in Phoenix, so they were showing it 9 AMCs. I went to 3 of them. First one I went to, I go in the theater, 3 people showed up. I went, Jesus, this doesn't have any legs anymore. What happened here? And the theater manager said they were mad at the company that was putting it on. They said they gave us no poster and they did no publicity. Are you leaving already? That boring, huh? Okay. Merry Christmas. Cowabunga, dude. Okay. Anyway, I know I do go on. I'm so sorry. I'm not on any drugs, by the way. I get interviewed. Some gal in France interviewed me once. She says, "Pardon me, Robert, but were you doing drugs with the movie?" And I said, "I beg your pardon. No, I was not." I said, "Does cocaine and LSD or marijuana count?" She said, "Oui." I said, "Then I was on drugs." I'm sorry. Just kidding.
What was your impression of the film when you first saw it?
I loved it, man. I was saying earlier that you've heard this, but the first night it opened here, my wife and I got in the car and we lived in Westwood, and we were going to different theaters. Standing in the back, I get weepy. He knows. I just cried in the other interview. You kids, man, I stood in the back, and Steve Byrne was brilliant the way he opened that movie. You kids could hardly wait to see him, and he teased you with the April story, the crime story, and then she's coming out of work at night, as you recall, and she's being accosted by the gang, and you see the side bounce off the wall, and the kids go, "Oh!" And then he cuts to this. I just love this moment. It was so strong to me. I get weak if I cry. I'm sorry. Just Steve's brilliant. The manhole cover comes up, and you just see the light bouncing off of Raffi's mask, and the kids go, "Oh!" And then he shuts. It's like a tease. Then he shut the manhole. Remember, the manhole closes, and they cut to the credits, and then the great music. John Dupree, who did the music, who, by the way, I found out some years later did all the Monty Python music and their series and stuff. Do you know that? Unbelievable talent. I said, I didn't know this guy did our movie. Anyway, and then they cut to the scene in the sewer, and you're still waiting to see him, and he teased you with silhouettes of him, and they're bantering back and forth. You hear him? And you kids absolutely exploded when they skated into that scene, and I looked at my wife. I got goosebumps right now. I looked at my wife and said, "We've got a hit." You kids, and the only way a movie is a hit is you've got to go see it a second and third and fourth time. That's like Barbie. How did that movie make $1 billion? But it did. And that's because people kept going back to see it. I think people went back to go, "What the hell is this movie about?" I tried to get through it. I couldn't figure out what it was. And I said, "I don't think I can watch this again." But it was interesting. Made a lot. All the studios care about is the dollar, bottom line, right? So anyway, I just knew it was a hit. And if I may, I didn't see one critic that said it was a good movie. Every one of them said, what a piece of crap. There'll only be one of these. No one's gonna go see this movie. And Tom, I said, do these guys go to the movie? You know, Leonard Maltin, famous critic back then, said it was one of the worst movies he ever saw. And I was on the Today Show the weekend it opened, that Monday, and I had the Variety newspaper that used to open and have a whole centerfold, and it had our box office number. And I held it up on the show. And Bob Shea was sitting next to me, the co-head of New Line. And my buddy was doing the Today Show. We knew each other. And he said, Bobby, you got something for me? And I said, here's our box office for the weekend. And I said, a lot of people thought this wasn't, the critics thought it wouldn't make a dime. And then Leonard Maltin comes out and says, what a piece of crap. I carried a copy of that for years in Hollywood, hoping I'd run into him. Because I just wanted to go, nainer, nainer, nainer.
Leonard Maltin.
Cowabunga, dude. Huh?
He was my professor at film school. I could introduce you to him.
Oh, I would love it,
I
man.
know every Wednesday he's got a class.
I will come over and do
Let's set
that.
it.
He panned that movie, and anyway, you guys made it a hit. The critics don't know jack. Just go see whatever. You guys, you kids back then made this, and your parents made this movie a hit, and it's a blessing. Anybody? What time we have?
We've got like 20 minutes. I was going to say we can start.
Want to do
with
some
questions.
Q&A? People want to ask me a question or two? Can you see me? I am standing right now, in case you wonder. Just want you to know that. Okay.
Yeah, does anyone have any questions? We've got the mic over there.
Oh yeah, that's what the mic is for you. Don't be shy. Oh, by the way, best question. Hey, is Adrian here? Where is he? Aid, are you here? From the Shoe Palace? Where's my guy? I thought he had something to give these guys.
No, I guess not.
Didn't he say he was going to bring those? Okay.
I don't know.
We won't go there.
I'm not sure.
The best question, hold on. Go ahead and ask your question. I'll get this. Ask your question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, my question is going to be the best question.
Huh?
My question is going to be the best question.
You already know
right?
what I'm doing, don't you?
Well, I already know what I'm doing.
You're better than me. What's that shirt you wear? Is that a turtle shirt?
No.
Oh,
It's a Hawaiian shirt, like close.
But the best question we'll get, I'll sign one of these for you.
There you go.
Okay.
So your film is regarded as probably one of the best out of the original trilogy that came out.
Right.
Is there any part of the film where you injected yourself into either one of the turtles or one of the scenes of something that's personal to you?
Say that question, that last part of the question again to me.
So,
Any part of the film, what?
is there any part of the film or a scene where you injected yourself into it?
Well, Raphael's pretty much me, for those that are Raffi fans. As you can tell, I'm kind of a Joe Pesci clone. Not with many F-bombs, but I'm still that energy and the wise guy.
Do you say damn a lot?
Huh?
Do you say damn a lot? That's very
Yeah, that and then some. Yes, I do.
I picture you as a Mikey.
You did?
Yeah.
A lot of people think I'm Mikey. A little bit of Mikey, maybe. But Raffi was a little edgy, a little grumpier. Mikey was like, hey, dude, let's smoke a bone. You know, I said when I heard Seth Rogen was going to do this movie, I said, because someone came, Mel Brooks said to me some years ago, hey, Hoiby, he called me Hoiby, the Ninja Turtle Poison. He'd introduce me, this is Hoiby, the Ninja Turtle Poison. Because my name's Herbeck, so the nickname is Herbie. And he said, it's time now for Teenage Mutant Ninja Grandfather Turtles. And you know what? Saturday Night Live, anybody see that last year? They did Teenage Mutant Middle-Aged Turtles. And then I just saw another thing on Middle-Aged Turtles here recently.
There's a couple things out right
Yeah. But Grandfather Turtles would be
now. Pretty funny.
Anyway, where'd you go, my guy? Oh, there you are. So, are you, but a particular scene or part? I'll tell you, when I wrote this script, I feel like you guys are in that other room just now. The very, believe it or not, there are a lot of thought went in this, with other people and me, the director, this and that. But the main people usually ask me in these forums, what did I use for research? What did I look into? I looked into the Marx Brothers, which many of you will not. Who the hell's the Marx Brothers? And there was a Four Musketeers movie with Michael York where I said, the turtles, because when they were fighting the enemy with their swords and stuff, they were always wisecracking to each other, and they'd stick you in the heart and say something sassy, you know. And I kept in mind that they were teenagers. And I also wrote this movie. I told Tom Gray, I'm not writing down the kids for this movie. I got to write in the middle because the parents are going to bring them. So you want the parents to go home and go call their friend and go, hey, take the kids. This is really a cute movie. And because there was something for the adults in it. And that's a fine line that you're doing. I also wanted a message in the movie, which I had Splinter saying, we're here to something. I saw it today. You're here to defend, you know, you're not on the offense. In other words, don't start stuff. You're here just to defend. You know, I want that message. I didn't want this to turn out to be a bunch of gangsters, you know, a bunch of gangbangers, which they weren't then. But, and the scene where they're out in the country and Splinter, they think is dead. And he appears to them in the fire. Gonna make me cry. And that's when he talks to him.
It's a good scene.
And says he loves them. And I had dads come up to me, my buddies in Long Beach. One couple of them rugby players, big badasses, right? And they got their sunglasses, you know, they come up to me and they go, took my son to see your movie last night. My God, dude, the scene, the fireplace scene, and I see these tears coming down Stewie's cheeks. He said, man, scene in the fire, and kid looks up and Splinter says, I love you, this and that. And he said, my son took my hand and said, do you love me, Pop? I love you. And man, I just fell apart. And that was stuff in the movie that I think it's just part of why you guys like the movie. It wasn't just the Marx Brothers. It had message. There was subtext in that movie. And so to answer your question, I love that. And one of my favorite scenes is the bathtub scene. Which was it, Leo? They thought
Raphael
was Rafi. And who was in the door? Leo?
Leo.
And they're hugging, anyway, the one's hugging the one in the bathtub, and Leo goes, it's a Kodak moment. That was one of my favorite scenes in the movie. Anyway, anybody have a favorite scene? Okay, never mind, go ahead.
Next question.
Hi. What is your best fan experience and your worst fan experience?
My best experience on this movie?
Fan experience.
Fan experience?
Oh, fan experience?
With the fan,
God, I
best
haven't
and
had a
worst.
bad one. Have I
Till
had a
tonight?
bad one? No,
kidding.
were you with us at the Comic-Con in San Diego when the guy said he thought the movie was too dark and he was tripping out? This one guy in San Diego, one of you, gets up and he said, got to the mic, I said, how you doing, buddy? He said, good, but I'm gonna tell you what, I saw that movie, I was freaked out for weeks, man. It was so dark and scary. You know, and I said, dude, we weren't going dark and scary. I'm sorry, but you have to talk to the director about that. You know, they lived in a sewer. There's not a lot of light down there, in case you don't know that. So, do you know the story about when the movie came out in New York and they were welding the manhole covers shut because the kids were prying them open looking for, hey, are you guys down there? Yeah, and they were going down in the sewers in New York. You were from there.
I mean, I did that. I put pizza into the sewers.
I love the scene. That is so cool. But I do love the pizza thing too. You know, if you get a chance on YouTube, you may know this. We did a reunion show, COVID year in May. Go on YouTube and pull it up. TMNT, the Ninja Turtle reunion show, and I didn't read them. The cast is there. So you get to see what they really look like. The Turtles is real people, and they read favorite scenes, and it's me and Steve Barron. You're going to see everybody that helped make this magic happen. And Kevin Clash, who played Splinter. Anybody know who Kevin Clash is? He played Splinter. He's Elmo from Sesame Street. I didn't even connect that. So we're rehearsing to do the show. And a line comes up for him, and he's going, oh, I didn't know that. And we're going, he's doing Elmo, for Christ's sake. He's supposed to be doing Splinter. And all of a sudden, Kevin goes, my bad. I'm sorry. I forgot. Splinter's in here somewhere. I'll pull him up. And then he got into Splinter. That's my son. You got it. The amazing guy, Kevin Clash. Anyway.
Next question.
Hello. First of all, I just want to say thank you for making this movie.
You're welcome. Thanks for
It's a
coming.
massive part of my childhood, and as an adult, I appreciate it even more. All like the father stuff, and I have a question that's kind of two-part. My favorite character is Casey Jones. So what was it like working with that actor and creating the character personality of Casey Jones? And my second question is, what's your favorite kind of pizza?
Okay. I've been asked yet my favorite turtle, so I'll tell you right now, it's all of them. But then Raffy's in #1 position. Okay, anyway. Favorite pizza? I like the whole, with everything on it, except anchovies. The whole enchilada. What was the first part question?
Casey Jones?
Oh, Casey? He made the character. I thought that guy was going to be a major star. He looks like Robert De Niro to me, and I said, if De Niro ever does a movie and needs someone to play his son, it's got to be him. Because he just had this great thing about him. I mean, the character's there, but then the actor has to bring themselves to it. I don't think there was a better Casey Jones. He killed it. He's a very shy, very private guy. He doesn't do this stuff. We got him in, if you pull up the reunion show, we kept getting, on your phone you get so-and-so's trying to get in on the Zoom thing. He kept trying to get in, but he didn't know how to do it. And Judith Hope goes, he's trying to get in. I'll try to get him in here. We got him at the very end, but he really, to me, he was tour de force. He was great. Perfect Casey. Don't you guys think he was a great Casey Jones? I thought he killed it. And I'd like to tell you a quick story, if I may. There's a guy named Maven, baseball player. Cameron Maven. He played for the Padres. He played, I think, the Angels, several teams over the years. He's now doing MLB. He's one of the anchors on the Major League Baseball thing. And my buddy Black was the manager of the Padres, and Dick Enberg was a good friend of mine, so I got to know the Padres. Dave Roberts, the Dodger manager, was the bench coach. Anyway, I'm sitting on the bench before a game at batting practice, and the general manager comes down and says to Enberg, "Who's that sitting in our dugout?" Like I didn't belong there. He's Bobby Herbeck. He's Enberg's, he's my buddy. And he said, "Well, what's he doing there?" He says, "Buddy Black," and invited him. He said, "Okay." He said, "What's he do?" He said, "He wrote Ninja Turtles." The GM goes, "Get the hell out of here." He said, "He wrote Ninja Turtles." The GM goes in the locker room and tells the players, the Ninja Turtle guy's sitting out on the bench. And all of a sudden they start filtering out. When they say, "Dude, I know they know." And they had a picture of this big guy like Grizzly Adams sat next to me, and he didn't look at me, he just went, "Hey, dude, you write the Ninja Turtle movie?" I said, "Yeah." And he goes, "That is so effing great, man. That's so cool." And this Cameron Maven guy comes out, and he gets down on one knee in the dugout. He says, "I am not worthy." And I said, "Please, stand up, please. You're embarrassing me." He said, "No, dude, this is like my life." No, listen, this is a true story. He said, "You're the reason I got into baseball." I said, "How's that?" He said, my grandma took me to the movie when I was a young boy, and Casey Jones was my favorite character, and I asked my granny to buy me a baseball bat after the movie, and I would have never been in baseball if it hadn't been for your movie. How cool is that?
Was it a Jose Canseco bat?
Yeah, really. Very good.
I hope he didn't pay money for that.
Huh?
So I hope he didn't pay money for that.
Pack of cigarettes.
Yeah, really. Okay, I'm sorry, buddy. Go ahead. Hi. No. Next question? No, I'm kidding. Go ahead.
What was your favorite fighting scene in the movie? Because mine was the rope top with Raphael.
My favorite what?
Fight scene?
Fight scene?
Fight scene? Yeah, I don't know.
That's a great scene.
I like, yeah, I know it. I like it too. I liked them all because they all had a different message, you know. And this, you know that, so there was 2 turtle costumes. There was more, but the actors were in these terrible, heavy costumes that were run by 3 puppeteers, I think.
At least, yeah.
You couldn't see them, but the eyes and the mouth, all the stuff moved because there was puppeteers working. This was cutting edge what Henson did. Now you do CGI. But there was 3 people working a costume, and they went to NASA to get how they air-cooled the astronauts' suits to come up with a system so our actors didn't die, because they were in a studio in July in the heat. There was no air conditioning. It's a miracle those guys lived through that movie. And they do a scene, have to take the heads off so they could breathe for a little bit. And I'm trying to think, there was some incident, I can't remember what the incident was. But anyway, I'm trying to give you, well, there he is over there. So anyway, the stunt guys were Actually, they were from Hong Kong, China, obviously. All the stunt guys. Well, Reyes says he was one of them. I think he was for Donatello.
Yes.
He was the only guy, I think, from here that was, it wasn't from, he's Asian, but he wasn't, they didn't bring him. Anyway, they wore a much lighter costume, like our clothes. They were much, much lighter. Otherwise, they couldn't have done the tricks they did. But I thought all the fight stuff was good because it all had a different message, and those stunt guys, they get no pub at all, those guys. Okay.
My question was, how long did it take you to like perfect the script, and how many times did you have to rewrite it?
I probably did maybe 6 drafts on it. I think I did maybe 5 or 6 drafts. And then they take it, and Todd came in and did some work on it. And again, that's by committee at that point. When you do the final draft, he knows the process, it's by committee. You know, you hand these things in and you just go like this. It's like when I write a TV script. TV script is only 44 pages because you're only writing for 22 minutes. So for a sitcom, is that right? Yeah. So it would be 42, 44 pages. Like I said, these are 100. Usually when I write, I'm not Aaron Sorkin, but Aaron Sorkin and Tarantino write 300-page scripts. And I hand in a script, it's 180, and Clint Eastwood took one of my scripts and he went like this. He didn't even open it up. He says, "Too many pages, shorty." I said, "How many pages in there?" 185. I open it up. It's 187. I mean, he knows by the weight. So, anyway, I think the script I handed was like 130. This one's 120. So they have to cut. It's time. You can't. People are only going to sit in a theater, especially kids, for so long. And my grandkids saw the movie, and I thought we'd lose them in 10 minutes. They never left the screen. They were blown away by this movie. This was what, 4 years ago, 3 years ago, 4 years ago? I had tears. I mean, I'm watching my grandkids, and they said, Pop, that's the bestest movie I've ever seen. And I said to my son, "How much did you pay them?" He said, "I told you they were going to like it." My granddaughter sat there, and she's always got to pee every 5 minutes. They loved the movie. All these years later, it still holds weight. In fact, do you know, is it the Beverly Cinema?
Yeah, I saw it.
Someone sent me a text today that they're showing that in Reservoir Dogs. I guess it's to
They
the
show it
editor.
in Beverly like once a year or two.
Oh, do they? I know is that Tarantino's
Yeah, it's
theater?
Tarantino's film on Beverly Boulevard.
I'm going to screen it in Arizona next year. We're going to do a book. Hopefully with his help, we're going to do a documentary and get it out next year by March 30th, about a year from now. We got time.
We still have to.
And I'm going to do I'm going to do a matinee anyway in Arizona, but we may do them around the country. Would you people go see it if we did that and brought the cast?
Hell yeah.
I mean, we want to get the cast together. We want to try to get as many everybody's as we can. Anyway, did I answer that question for you?
Yeah.
Okay, thanks, bud. I love the hat. I love the gear. It's great. What does that mean?
This is my name on my podcast.
Oh, you have a podcast?
Yep.
What's it called? Arc?
It's called Raw Podcast. My name is Archon.
Well, let's talk.
Yeah.
I'll come and talk to you. Go ahead.
Sure.
I hate to talk. Go ahead. Just kidding.
So regarding those revisions, was there a scene or a phrase that you wanted to stick with?
Cowabunga dude.
They just kept
Came from Howdy Doody. A lot of you don't know the Howdy Doody show, 50s. I'm dating myself. I was just a little kid. I was a little kid then. I've been asked that, Cowabunga. And the servers picked up on it in the 50s, and they added dude to it. And it became Cowabunga Dude, which is the signature line, I think, for the movie. Other than it's a Kodak moment, that's just me. But Cowabunga Dude is the big word, so. But did I answer you okay?
I was wondering if that's something that they wanted to take out, because you mentioned there was.
Oh, no, did something they wanted to take out?
That you wanted to keep in there regardless.
You mean, was there something I wanted in there, didn't get in there?
Or, yeah.
Yeah, that's what you're saying a different way, okay. Not this one. In the second movie, I wanted to get them in a car or a pickup. That old pickup that was in April when they went out to the farm, I had written a scene where they got in the pickup and didn't know what the hell they were doing, and it takes off and they're just bouncing around the farm and stuff. I wanted that in the movie, and then I said, Tom said, well, we'll do that maybe in the next one. I said, you gotta have him drive, get him in a car. I think I said to you earlier when I heard Seth Rogen was gonna do the last one that came out, I said, Because someone said, if you did the movie now, what would you do? I said, well, I'd probably have this scene where Mikey's walking down the street in New York and there's a vape pen on the street. And he picks it up and he goes, and he sniffs, he goes, because he sees someone vaping and he goes, dude. Now he goes back to the sewer where everybody is and there's just empty pizza boxes everywhere. He says, I am so hungry. And they said, we just ate 12 pizzas. I know, dude, but I am. He's going, I am so hungry. I said, if Seth Rogen's doing this movie, he'll have a Ninja Turtle smoking a bone, I'm sure. You know, if I could do it, I would do that today. And I said, have them go in a strip club too, just for fun. They're running away from the gang and they end up in the strip club going, whoa, oh yeah, okay. Anybody got any ones? I mean, I really want to write this Ninja Turtle movie where they're just off the rails. But anyway, next question.
Last question.
Mine's not so much a question, but a statement and a thank you.
Uh-oh.
I saw your movie when I was 10, took martial arts a week later. I now have a master belt in one style and 4 black belts in 4 other styles. I was ranked 8th in the world in 2008.
Wow.
So and it was all because of Turtles, it really was.
Really?
The movie, and I fell in love with martial arts from it. My thank you is thank you for 37 broken bones.
More than welcome. You want a 38? Come on, pal, bring it up here. I will kick some butt. Good for you, dude. Congratulations, man. Really, you break 37 bones? Damn. Well, then you got to get into this. Yes, come on up. This is my brother from the Navy right here, my man. Give him a hand. He's serving our country. All of you who served and are serving, thank you.
You're in the Navy?
He is in the Navy.
Still currently in the Navy.
Oh, I was in the Navy, so.
Were you?
Yeah, I was.
There you go.
So was that?
Hell
Oh,
yeah.
cool.
Anyway, question.
So my question is you've been writing for a good amount of time. What are some of the challenges that you've had to kind of adapt your writing style as the years have gone on from like the last thing out?
The biggest challenge, if I may, to write a TV script, when you write a TV script, it's going to be on the air within a month, 6 weeks. You know this. You write a movie script, doesn't mean anything. They'll pay you a ton of money. I have pictures sitting at Fox and Sony. I got paid a lot of money, and I have people coming saying, what happened to your Bratz movie? I'm a military brat. I wrote a movie about, I lived in Okinawa. My dad was an Air Force pilot. When I was 10, 11, and 12, I lived in Okinawa in the 50s, and there was still a lot of stuff in the jungle from the war. And the first day we got there, my dad took my brother and I to the backyard, but it was a barbed wire fence, said unauthorized personnel out. And you'd hear ordnance going off because the Okinawans are salvaging stuff and they blow themselves up. And my dad said, if you 2 boys, I find you're in that jungle, you're grounded till we go back to the States. We were there the next morning. We're in the jungle. There's got to be something in here. We got to check this out. So, anyway.
Well, I think that's it. I think we're about out of time.
Does anybody want to ask one last anything? Yeah, go ahead. I got a minute. I'm not going anywhere. We got a minute left.
This will be the last one.
Are we having fun? Yeah. Did anybody learn anything? Yeah, then I'm a blabbermouth. I'm not on Coke. Little Red Bull and some coffee. Go ahead.
My question is that you talked about the movie stuff, but one thing, since there have been a lot of movies and TV shows and video games and comics, how has the evolution of Ninja Turtles affected
Me?
play?
What I'm doing?
No, how it was the viewpoint of the Ninja Turtles based on the evolution of what was appreciation, I guess?
Do you know what he's asking?
So like, how did the film, how was it influenced by like other turtle stuff?
No,
or-
how was the evolution of the franchise after the first?
I'm sorry.
Oh, the franchise. So
the
after
evolution.
The turtle.
What is
Yeah,
it?
so the evolution of.
Oh, the evolution? How has it evolved?
Yeah, how was the evolution affected your viewpoint of the title?
Yeah,
Oh,
so
your
how's your
viewpoint. How has
viewpoint?
it affected your viewpoint?
Yeah.
The evolution of the
Oh,
series.
the evolution.
you
Thank
see-
you. I'm sorry, buddy.
you see all
It's
these
not you.
different-
It's me. I don't hear worth a damn anymore. So, That's
There's a
from
lot of
being, that's
different
from being, living on Air Force bases all my life. It's just, no, I know, it's just evolved. See, I tell you, I kind of lost touch with it. I wasn't a big fan of the Michael Bay Turtles. I didn't like the look. My grandson, when he first saw the first trailer, he jumped in my lap and said, Pop, you made him scary. I said, it had nothing to do with this. I don't like the transform. I'm going to tell you a true story. I don't like the transform body and the Zika virus head and the big eyes. And this is the true story. Kevin Eastman told me this. Are you turning me off? Is this for me to go? Oh, because sometimes they do that. You're on the mic, you're going, when I did stand up, you knew you were dying when the mic went, how about that? I guess I'm done. Anyway, so Michael Bay invited Kevin Eastman, Kevin told me this, to Paramount when he was shooting the Turtles. And Kevin goes on the set and they have lunch and Michael says, so what do you think of the Turtles? And he said, why'd you do that? He said, what? Make them look like that. Did I tell you this story? So why'd you make them look like that? He said, because I can, I'm Michael Bay. And Kevin said, you're also the biggest asshole I ever met. He got up and left and drove back to San Diego. I don't like them because the Turtles we wrote, like I said earlier, were fun, loving, and they had a message, and they were good guys, and it got too dark for me, okay? Seth pulled it back to me with the picture this summer. He kind of, we called Seth's people to see if we could put a footprint on this last one, just as a tip of the hat to us. And they said, yeah, we'll get back to you. We never heard from them. But then if you saw the movie, they did draw a little bit off of the tone of what we did in that movie. I think it played down the kids a little bit. Did you see it?
Yeah.
I think it played down the kids a little more than it did play down more than ours. But I hope I'm answering your question. We could go. I could go on forever about what this done. But so the question before, where was the person who asked me that? No, you did. You asked me that end of that question. I'm sorry, I go off. Something about as I went on as a writer or something.
No.
I thought it was something about doing projects or. Oh yeah, I'm sorry, buddy.
I asked how you changed your writing style or how.
Well, how I changed. Well, first of all, as you all know, the writing things, movies are different today. But Turtles still works if you write it right. I think it works. They work. But my grandkids, they asked me not too long ago, Pop, write a funny movie. We're tired of Spider-Man. It's the same movie. They're all the same movies. They feel like it's just the same, which it is the same template. And I'm in a business where they're scared to death every day, like Tom Gray was. And you know this. They're scared to make it. I have a project at Clint Eastwood's. I don't know if I said that to you. And we had a 3-hour meeting yesterday because they're worried about so many things. And it's like, just make the frickin' thing and see where the chips fall. There's brilliant people in this business that can, it's about you. It's what, they're trying to guess what you want to see and where you'll take the money out of your wallet and go see it. And it's a guessing game, you know, and they only got one shot. TV series, you got, what, 15 episodes? Okay.
That's about
We have to go.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank
I
you,
can talk to
everybody.
you forever.